If your dog's behavior feels stuck on repeat, you're not alone. I'm Kirsten, and this is Clean Loop Canine, where we break the cycle, rebuild calm, and reinforce behavior that both you and your dog find rewarding. All right, we are here today to talk about, your dogs. This is a dog, believe it or not a chipmunk. Oh, she's a really good dog. Aren't you, Phoenix? Oh, she's a cold dog right now. Yes. Okay, we're going to talk about other people's dogs now. All right? Bye. Okay. So, as you may know, I'm pursuing dog training as a career, perhaps a little earlier than I hoped for, but to start off my journey, I asked all of you, people who know me, to tell me about your issues with your dogs. I thought it would be a good test for me and a good opportunity to help some people I know with their issues if they are within my skill set. All right, so I'm going to start with the most entertaining response I received. Not really. I mean, yes, but I'm starting with it because it was the earliest response. I'm not going to give names. I'm just going to do letters. So if you're looking for your particular issue, the first letter of your first name will be what I start with. And I think you'll know when we get to you. So R. R said their problem is yapping. I hate the yapping. The next question was, what have you tried to solve this problem? And R's answer was, is strangulation the wrong answer? JK, I ignore it because I don't know what to do. First off, I relate to that. I relate to that a lot. It can be very tempting to forcibly stop a dog from barking. And I also have to applaud R on ignoring it because they don't know what to do. One of my mantras is, if what you are doing isn't stopping a behavior, you're making it worse. And so often when I see people trying to solve barking, they're saying, no, 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 no. And the dog is like, oh, cool, you're barking too. Woo, 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 woo. And almost like double down. So back to the yapping. Yapping makes me think small dogs. But I guess I'll address it as if it's any size dog or any reason for yapping. I also think yapping insinuates a continuous or annoying bark. And it may seem meaningless to you, but to your dog, it's reinforcing, or something reinforces that behavior, or they wouldn't continue to do it. It definitely is also related to their genetics. Some breeds are more likely to be talkative than others. For example, one of my dogs, is a pit boxer mix, and she's pretty talkative. Hears things outside, barks, sees someone walking up, barks. While my other one, different genetics, she just can't be bothered. Very rarely makes any sound, except for when she's pressing her buttons. But anyways, so yeah, it could be related to genetics. That said, do not lose hope. There are things you can do. So one, I'm going to introduce one of my favorite words right now is antecedent arrangements. That is a really fancy way of saying, have you set yourself and your learner up for success? Meaning, what is the environment like? Have you, and this is most commonly is in scientific experiments, but it can apply to your home as well. So when I think of yapping and antecedent arrangements, I think of, are the blinds closed? as in, is it movement that is making your dog bark? So can you eliminate their desire to bark by closing the blinds? Another one might be noises outside. They hear strange noises. Can you play a white noise machine in your house or in the room that your dog is kept in, so that they're less likely to hear strange or unusual noises? Let's see, other reasons for yapping might be, visitors coming into your home is a big one. Lots of dogs yap when people come in the door or first coming home. And my favorite arrangement for that is putting them in another room away from the doorway and in a crate. And if they are in a crate and they still yap in the crate, you wait for them to be quiet, then let them out. I would resist the temptation to yell. And if you want bonus points, you can also reward them in the crate while they're quiet. That could also work for other situations. Maybe meal times is when your dog yaps. So maybe when you all are eating dinner, you put your dog away in a crate, and maybe you can slowly move the crate closer to the place where you're eating and reward the dog for any moments of silence. And keep in mind, a moment of silence to you may be a minute, but to your dog, it could be 1 second or 5 seconds. And rather than having 5 treats and giving them large treats like milk bones or something when you're rewarding them, I would advise using something smaller. Like, I like chopping up hot dogs. Those are high in sodium, so be careful. Or jerky, small pieces of jerky if it's unflavored. Your favorite dog treat, just pick something small, and a higher rate of reinforcement is going to result in better results. You need to start with 1 second of quiet and gradually work your way up to 5, 10, to a minute. What you think may be easy, be quiet for a whole minute, to your dog is difficult. And if they are continuously failing, the likelihood is you're asking a lot of them and need to go back and increase duration. Another fun trick on that same note is put the bark on a cue. If you know when they're likely to bark, like, create that situation. Maybe if someone's coming to the door, they hear a car door, they bark, encourage it, and then maybe get a pot and bang it. And if they're all quiet, they all look at you like, oh, what was that? Reward, say quiet, good quiet, and reward that. If you have multiple dogs, definitely do this one dog at a time, because you're going to struggle more if you're trying to reward multiple dogs at the same time. It's always best to start with them individually. That same thing could be used for passersby, your dog barking. I've got another one. If your dog is outside and they're barking at people walking by, it may be the most exciting part of their day, because the way they may see it is a person's walking up to their fence, they start barking, and the person walks away. Now, in all likelihood, the person's probably walking away because the sidewalk goes that way and it's part of their path. But to your dog, their barking caused the person to walk away, or their barking caused the person to look at them. That may be the thing that is reinforcing the barking. Regardless, a good first step is to change your antecedent arrangements. Can you put weed fabric on your fence so your dogs can't see out of it? Can you take your dogs outside on a long line so they can't even get close to the fence? But try to make their arrangements so that the behavior doesn't occur. And if the behavior does occur, then try to put it on a cue, reward, and then say shh or quiet. And if everyone's quiet, this is only in a controlled setting, only when you have planned to teach this behavior. And if you can, try not to use words you've used in the past, like NO or or if you've been trying to use something with a negative connotation, then pick a different word, like look at me, or I don't know, mouth shut. Anyways, if I didn't answer that question, then send me a private message with more specific details, and I will give you a better answer to keep you from strangling your dogs. Thanks, R. All right, next question. Okay, we have S. Problem: pulling on leash and jumping on people when meeting. Jumping has gotten a lot better, but when they haven't seen someone in a long time, it's hard to distract. All right. S has tried changing directions on leash, ignoring jumping behavior when coming in the door until they calm down. That's great. All right. Those are good solutions, but I want to highlight a particular word that I just read here, and it is distract. I find that lots of distractions can work in situations that are high stress, high arousal, but an approach that I would prefer to use, especially in this situation, is can you turn the situation that normally incites jumping into an opportunity for another behavior, right? So here's what I mean by that. If it's all right. Ooh. Here's what I mean by that. If when your dog is meeting a new person, you are going here, 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 or sit, 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 that doesn't involve the other person. And when the dog does greet the other person, they're not sure what behavior is appropriate. And it sounds like sometimes you're getting the right behavior, or the wanted, desired behavior of 4 feet on the floor and not jumping, and sometimes you're not. Okay, so first I'm going to address meeting visitors or new people. And I'm going to assume that your dog is meeting people outside of the home. So the dog is on the leash. Maybe you're meeting a friend for lunch, or maybe you're walking down a trail and someone wants to say hi to your dog. I'm going to address it as though it's that type of a situation. So one, when you're working on this initially, do not use strangers. Find a friend that maybe hasn't met your dog, or hire a trainer, or hire a nephew, and the goal will be to teach a different behavior while greeting people. So I like, one option is a hand touch. So you'll start with your hand, say touch, dog touches the hand, reward. Again, hand out, dog comes over to sniff your hand, you say yes and reward. So once your dog gets to a point where when you hold your hand out and say touch, your dog touches your hand with their nose, then this is when you can go on to the next step, which is a new person. Start with a barrier. Start on the other side of a fence. Start with a baby gate. Start with anything between the new person and your dog. This will mean that if the dog jumps, they're jumping on a fence or gate, not on the person. It'll make, I think, easier to make the right answer easier for the dog. And the right answer being, when they approach a person, they are to do the touch behavior, right? So you're going to stage the situation as start far away, start 50 feet away, say touch, have your dog touch your hand, good. Takes 10 steps forward, touch, good. Touch, good. If you get to a point where your dog is no longer touching your hand and is just concerned about the other person, they've reached a point of arousal where they can picture a bell curve. They're not learning anymore. They cannot follow a cue that they can follow under a lower stimulus, lower stress situation. So what you're going to do in that case is take 10 steps back, start over. And if you find that you're going back and forth a lot, then your session might have lasted too long. 5 minutes might be all your dog can handle. So in that case, go home, try again another day. Hopefully it's your neighbor that's helping you and you can catch them a couple times. Another option might be touch. If your dog finds it stressful to be near the person, you can touch and say yes, and then run away from the person. That will count as a reward. Your dog will be like, oh goodness, thank you, I touched your hand, and now we're leaving. We're getting away from the stressor, which is this new person. That's another option. So if your dog is doing well at a distance, and when you get closer to the person, you're going to put your hand next to theirs, right? Say touch. And then if they get close to the other person's hand, you're going to reward. So the goal here is that your dog is learning a new way to interact with the new person. So other behaviors that you might have taught, like sit or down or off, those might be helpful under certain circumstances, but they aren't teaching the dog how to interact with the new person. And this strategy, the goal is to make the person's hand a target. And simplifying what the dog is to do around a person is likely to increase your chances of success. And one of the great things about the touch behavior is it's touch and then leave. So if being around a person is causing your dog to be aroused or stressed, then this behavior is touch and go. You're more likely to have success. All right, so let's say you've been working on this for a couple weeks, or maybe it only takes a day, it depends on the dog, and your dog can successfully walk up to any stranger. You tell a stranger, hey, can you please hold out your hand and ask my dog to touch it? And any person, your dog will go up, touch their hand, come back. You're there. My next suggestion, because under certain circumstances, people might want to pet your dog, and you still want under that situation, good behavior from your dog. So again, we're going to use a target. I don't have them up here, these black like stadium seat pads. They're just little, but I like them because they're soft, spongy. You can toss them on the ground anywhere and use them as a foot target. All right, so that's going to be your next thing. Your dog is going to learn front feet on the target, reward. Your cue for that can be like feet or touch. Well, you use touch for your hand, feet, and then they should place their feet on the pad, get rewarded for that. Right? So the same thing you did with the hand touch, you're going to do with the foot pad. You're going to start far away, ask your dog to put its feet on the pad, and in this one, you can increase duration, right? As long as your dog leaves their feet on the pad, you can keep rewarding, and then have a cue for when they can be done, like okay, or free, or all done, so that they know, all right, I did the job, it's time, I can get my feet off this pad now. A release word is imperative to this being successful. So you're going to move the foot pad, again, just like you did with the touch, closer and closer to the person. And once you get to a point where the foot pad is right in front of a person and your dog is standing with both feet on the foot pad, you're going to ask the person, hey, could you please politely pet my dog on the back, not on the top of the head. And if your dog reacts, 10 feet away, start over. If their feet leave the pad or they jump on the person, start over. Again, a barrier would be a great thing to use here, and even easier because it doesn't require your helper to reach over it and put their hand out. So you can just put the foot pad on the other side of the barrier. But this gives your dog an opportunity to learn, oh, when I'm being pet, my job is to stand in front, and the foot pad gives a specific place for their feet to be and remain. Now, I would say one of the biggest pitfalls of this would be you are not rewarding fast enough and assuming that your dog should just stay on the foot pad. without a high rate of reward. So I would offer rewards quickly and a lot, especially while they're learning. Once your dog gets to a point where they will stay on it, whether a person's there or not, then you can slowly, gradually increase the time that they're on the foot pad without a reward. And you can increase your distance away from it too. Maybe you can send your dog to the foot pad with someone else standing in front of it. Great strategy for greeting strangers. All right, now I'm going to address the second part of this. Let's see. Pulling on a leash, jumping on people when meeting. Jumping has gotten a lot better, but when they haven't seen someone in a long time, it's hard to distract. I'm also seeing ignoring jumping behavior when coming in the door until they calm down. My recording was still going. Okay. The way this is phrased, I assume your dog is left loose while you are gone. I would recommend a crate in this situation. That said, your dog could have the same issue when you let them out of the crate. This is another great opportunity for the foot pad. It might be difficult if your dog is very aroused. You're home, they're excited. Another great thing to do here would be to have a leash available so that they don't have the opportunity to rehearse the jumping on you. Now, another way this I could assume by the way this is phrased is if your dog knows somebody, one of your friends or family members, and whenever they see that friend or family member, they're excited and want to jump on them. And with some dogs, you might make progress with by coaching the family member, hey, just stand and ignore them until they're calm. Sometimes that works. But another strategy I like for this, and it requires your friend or family member to be compliant, maybe, is a place behavior. So a mat, a raised beds are my favorite. A bed anywhere that is theirs where no one touches them, and if you say place, they go there and they stay there until you release them. So you'll, again, start this just like you would do with a foot pad. You would lure them on or throw some treats onto the bed. And when they go onto the bed, say, place, good, and continue rewarding them while they're on there. And then when you would like them to get off, you're going to give their release word, okay, or free, or great job, whatever you want to use. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you have a release word for this. So let's say you've spent days or weeks working with this. Your dog, if you say place, they immediately go to that spot and stay and wait to be rewarded or released. So this is a good opportunity for e-collar work as well, the bed or crate. Now, if you are going to use this method, one, I highly recommend you work with someone who's used e-collars before. This is not a DIY project. There are lots of ways that you can mess up, and depending on the equipment you're using, you might be using more force than is necessary. So I highly recommend working with a professional if you're going to use this method. If you can do the same thing with a leash, tug, 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 or no, when they get off, a sharp pop, and then place, tug, 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 back on there. And if they do get off, when they get back on, do not reward them. You can reward them once they've stayed there for a minute, but not when you've just had to correct them and put them back. So this place behavior could make people entering and exiting your home better. Even if you're getting home from something and your dog is jumping all over you, you can say place. Hopefully maybe you have food ready and can start tossing food onto their bed. And maybe they have a leash attached so you can tug them back onto the place if they're aroused and ignoring it. This would be even better if your dog is crated while you're gone and you can come in the house, wait for them to calm down in the crate, take them out, then work on the place behavior. all of these behaviors are going to be easy to teach, easier to keep follow through if your dog is not over aroused, if their arousal level, their excitement is within a certain range. And if you have a dog, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes they get to a point of excitement, of fear, of any emotion where they're no longer learning. They're no longer listening to you. Behaviors that they typically do, they stop doing. So the best course of action is to create situations where that is unlikely to happen, where maybe they get close, so they have learning moments, but where it's unlikely for them to reach that high level of arousal. All right. I think that was way too long of an answer, but it's an answer. Okay, we've got Jay. Jay's problem is crotch sniffing. G's can't break him. That's a rough one. Reactive barking when people arrive. He is a large breed and I need him to heel better when visitors arrive. Jay has tried, worked a lot with him on the barking at visitors with partial success. He is very food driven, but I don't have treats 24/7 at the ready. If he and I are home alone, he will come and sit when I'm at my desk, but if I answer the door, his obedience goes out the door. Well, you open the door, there goes the obedience. So again, just like I just talked about, when someone is at the door, arousal goes up and those previously installed behaviors become way more difficult to do. So I would say, well, one, let's start with a crotch sniffing. G's can't break him. So just like I mentioned for S, the hand touch, great option for this dog too. An important piece here would be to make sure that he is coming back to you after getting the reward. So he's not doing the touch and then going to the crotch and then going back to you. But again, that would be a great way to teach him a good option for greeting people, like touch their hand, come back. The more predictable these situations can be, the less awkward behaviors you're going to get. The more you can teach your dog, hey, there are appropriate things to do when you're presented with a new person. This is one of them. Again, using any form of corrections in this sort of situation could result in your dog thinking, oh, the person is the reason the new person is the reason my owner is jerking on my leash, causing discomfort. And what your dog could learn is, oh, in order to make the discomfort stop, I need to bark at that person. They need to leave. They are the reason why this started, and they need to leave. So if at all possible, avoid any aversives when greeting new people. Try to create Try to create behaviors that you want when greeting new people. Crotch sniffing, not one of them. Thankfully, not so dangerous. I don't know. The men might disagree with me. But, all right. He is a large breed and I need him to heel better when visitors arrive. So this is interesting. I like that Jay has specified I need him to heel better when visitors arrive. Okay, so one really tough thing for dogs to do when they're aroused is stay still. That's why the first behavior I recommended for greeting new people was a touch, because it requires moving, right? So a heel is it's an excellent behavior to teach for walking past people. It's a really tough one if someone's walking up to you and your dog and all they're staring at the person and thinking, gosh, we're recording again. They're staring at the person. And thinking, gosh, they're getting closer. And as they're thinking that, oh, look at the person. They're getting closer. They're getting more and more aroused. And you are inevitably, when they leave the heel position, you're not getting them back. If they've left the heel position, they're over aroused and they've decided more important to go see them. If you are going to work on having them sit next to you while you're greeting other people, just be aware that achieving that stillness, a stationary behavior in that situation is going to be more difficult. If you are going to do it that way, I would recommend a sit-stay, and especially if you have if you can carry something that you toss down and they're to stay on that thing, give them a specific place so they're not like inching forward and there's more clarity involved in this. Hi, Milos. For example, when I'm at a restaurant with Milo, come here, with Milo, then she can generalize, which means she can, even if it's a different object that I'm asking her to do behavior on, she can go, oh, I know what mom means by that, even if it's not the exact same thing that we usually use. So frequently when I'm at a restaurant, I'll take off my jacket, throw it on the ground, tell Milo place, and she knows if she leaves a jacket for any reason, regardless of what's going on, she's going to get a correction. She also knows that while she's on the place behavior, I will give her some of my food, quite a lot of it actually. I mean, she's skinny, she needs food. She's going to get rewarded for that. Even when people are walking by, even if someone comes up and hugs me, even if the band starts playing, it doesn't matter. She's going to get rewarded for staying on the place. And it's my favorite thing I've taught her, probably. No, not my favorite. It's up there, though. So all of that to say, if you are going to teach the stationary behavior, be aware it's more difficult in new situations for them to stay still while anything is happening. You will have more luck teaching them a behavior that requires them to move first. Okay, let's see. L. All right. L says, Mika barks at other dogs anytime she sees one. She growls and barks nonstop. Tried? What they have tried? Not much. I don't take her places with other dogs. Bravo. Well done. You may or may not know that that is the right solution in this particular circumstance, but it is. What you've successfully done by not taking your dog places with other dogs is you've stopped allowing them to rehearse that behavior. So they could be barking or growling at other dogs for many reasons, but two good ones, often ones, are either they are fearful, they are trying to increase distance between themselves and that other dog, and that may have been successful at one point. Another dog was approaching them and they were uncomfortable, so they barked or growled, and that dog went, oh, that's not what I want, and left, therefore reinforcing the behavior that assures they're going to repeat it, right? It worked. In Milo's case, it's quite the opposite. She barks or growls because she would like the dog to come closer. I call her a bar fighter. She has never done real damage, but thinks it's a great time if she can engage another dog in a bar fight. Feeny, goodness. Yeah. Feeny has just taken my microphone cover out of my camera bag. I get it. It does look like a toy. That's understandable. All right. So, what to do, right? So one, you've successfully stopped rehearsing that behavior. You've tried to only take your dog out in situations where they're unlikely to encounter another dog. So now it's time to work on behaviors that you want around other dogs. And my favorite thing to do, I get real jazzed about this, is to establish that when your dog sees another dog, there is a specific behavior you want. I.e., so one option would be to, what some people may do in this situation that isn't my favorite thing to teach is they are the cue, sit, heel, look, they are the cue, right? The thing I don't like about that is, let's say you are walking down a road and you don't see the other dog, but your dog does. If you've established what your dog is supposed to do in the case that they see a dog, there is a chance, it's not a perfect system, but it's a good system, that they will do that behavior without you having to do anything, because you've established the cue for this behavior is the other dog, is the presence of another animal. I love it. When I first came across it, I thought, wow, this is crazy. There's no way it's going to work. And then it worked wonders for Milo. So this is what it is. And this is not my concept, and I came across it from an awesome YouTuber, and I'm going to link her and the PDF that she supplied me in the show notes. Oh, let's take this opportunity. If you're still watching, it's going to be long. Hit the like button, subscribe. I would like to somehow support myself doing this, and likes and subscribes are a great place for me to start. So what you're going to do is you're going to find a controlled setting where you can practice this, i.e. the situation needs to be somewhere where other dogs or dog are not going to come closer to your dog. It can be a friend in a field with their dog. It could be a dog park where there's likely to be other dogs. Try to pick one where the other owners have their dogs on a leash when they're going from their car to the dog park. If they don't, then do not be there, because if a dog comes towards your dog, that's going to be a very traumatic experience for them. In my situation, there are several dogs in my neighborhood that bark at the fence, and I utilized that behavior to train my dogs. Anyways, so this is what you do. You start really, really far away. I'm not talking about 20 feet. I'm talking about 200 feet. Anywhere where your dog can see that other dog. And you're going to slowly walk towards the other dog. And at that moment, when your dog sees the other dog and you see like they're like, oh no. You're going to click and reward, or yes and reward. And I skipped a step. The other step. In a situation of calm where there is no other dog, there's no trigger, you're going to teach your dog that a clicker is most ideal, because it sounds the same no matter who's using it, or a word means they're about to receive a reward. So I use the word yes, and that's a reward. So you're going to teach them that in a time of calm. And all you're going to do is sit on a stool or a place like I'm doing, and say your word or use a clicker and give them a treat. Use that thing, give them a treat. That thing, give them a treat. Maybe toss some food to the side. They go get it. When they look back at you, give them a treat. What we're trying to enforce here is that when they hear that noise, they're going to get a reward. So again, the goal here is to turn the other dog into a cue. A cue is a word or anything in the environment to start a behavior. Most people teach their dog sit, that's a cue. And then it's followed by a behavior, then a reward, then a marker, then a reward. So in this situation, they're going to see the other dog. That is the cue. You are going to click or say your word for a reward. They're going to come get the reward. Now, if they keep looking at you, great. Reward them again. Then get closer. If you get to a point, if you get close enough to where you're saying that word for a reward, or you're clicking your clicker, and they're no longer turning around to look at you, you've gone too close. You're too close. So in that situation, you're going to go a couple steps back, do the same thing. So the end goal here is, if you're walking down the road in your neighborhood or walking down a trail, and your dog sees another dog, they're going to, without any intervention from you, without any leash tugging, without nothing, they're going to remember, oh, that's a cue, and expect you to reward them. And eventually what you should get is that they see the other dog, they remember, oh, that's a cue. just like the word sit. The sight of the other dog is just like the word sit, but they're going to look at you and you're going to keep walking past that dog, just giving rewards. Just giving rewards. No marker, just giving rewards. And they're going to continue looking at you. They're going to forget that other dog ever existed, especially if that other dog is not reacting or making any noise or is a decent distance away. The closer they get, the more difficult this may be. And this, it depends on the dog. It could take a day or two. It could take several months. But that is a great way to handle your dog barking or growling at other dogs. Now, let's say you've done that and you're still struggling. That's when you contact me. There is a strategy for dealing with dogs that continue to struggle even after you've established the other dog as a cue for you to look at me. I'm happy to share it. Contact me. All right. Next question. Another L. Problem. I have a Staffy. Oh, me too. He's very reactive when people come to my house. I am scared of him attacking them. Even if I put him in his crib, I'm going to assuming crate, he will bark nonstop. I can't bring anyone over anymore to my house. All right. And something, it's a bad situation. It sounds like he's also resource guarding. So what L has tried? I feed him in his crate. Cool. Sometimes I try to introduce him to people holding his leash to avoid any accidents. Okay. There's many facets to this. I'm going to address it first. I am not a veterinary behaviorist. There is a chance that this dog is reacting the way he or she is because they're in pain or maybe have vision issues or a neurological issue. So when you're dealing with something this serious and dangerous, it is important to address those things first. All right, so let's say your dog has a clean bill of health from a veterinarian or a veterinary behaviorist. Great. The first step I would take is just like I described with a dog that's reactive to other dogs, is to take your dog somewhere where they can be very far away from other people. And other people are going to become that cue to look at you and receive food. And I would say with this dog, under no circumstances should he be greeting anyone for any reason if there is any potential for him hurting anyone. A good way to make interactions between him and other people safe is to muzzle train him. Ooh, I love it. Okay, we're going to pause. I'm going to get a muzzle. All right. Brief break. Milo is going to demonstrate some muzzle training for you. She's agreed to do it on the stool, which I think is amazing. She's amazing. Up you go. Oh, amazing. Good job. All right. So she does a muzzle on the cue. Ooh, no. Nose. Milo. Nose. Shoves that nose in there. Leaves it in there. I don't have the straps on right now. That's okay. Yes. When I say her YES word, she takes her nose out. Nose. 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 Ooh, yeah. She had her nose pushed up against it like this. Ooh, funny. Yes. All right. So she leaves her nose in there until I say YES. Oh, so good. Yes. All right. All done. All done. So getting there is a process, but it's important that your dog associates the muzzle with something positive. Don't put the muzzle on your dog and then take them to the vet. Don't put the muzzle on your dog and then introduce them to someone new. Put the muzzle on your dog, give them a couple of treats, take it off, and do it again in a couple hours or the next day. That's how you're going to start. I got another one. The other one is big. This is a basket muzzle. Less safe, but also an option. A little more affordable. I think these are on Amazon. Yep, this is a Baskerville muzzle. Another good option. So this is a Jafco muzzle. I really like it. These will allow you to work on the issue of your dog's fear or aggression around other people while keeping other people safe. I implore you, muzzle train your dog. Really, most dogs should probably be muzzle trained. There might be some point in their life where they need to be handled safely and are uncomfortable, maybe at the groomer, maybe at the vet. Great if your dog already has a positive association with a muzzle. So great. So, anyways, the stigma needs to go. We need to all be on board with the muzzles. Okay, so you've muzzle trained this dog. Again, next step is going to be real far away. You're going to start real far away from people and start teaching him when he sees another person, click, food. It's going to be a relief because he's going to see the person and the thing he's supposed to do is come closer to you. And again, same thing that I described with the dog that is jumping on people when greeting. That's an unwanted behavior. And another unwanted behavior is obviously biting people. Biting people is an unwanted behavior. So you're going to try to establish with the muzzle on. That same hand touch behavior I described. Or even better, if you don't want anyone's hand near the muzzle, you can get a target stick. I'll try to link one. All it is a ball on the end of a stick. You can use a fly swatter. That's a great option. Hi, lady. Let's see. Come here. Okay, Feeny, you muzzle trained? Boop. No, it's a little big. You could like use your whole head. It's like a hat. Yeah, it's not very effective. Okay, so again, you're gonna try to establish with this dog, approach people, touch the stick, done. And if you're willing to do this approach with a muzzle, have a volunteer, make the sessions really short, really positive for the dog. Like the dog learns like, oh, interacting with people is simple. There's no reason for me to try to bark them away from me or bark them closer to me. And they lead to him establishing trust and connection with other people because the situation is always the same. It's predictable, right? Let's see. Other parts of this question. Besides greeting people. Okay. I can't bring anyone over to my house anymore. Okay, so the thing I just described, greeting other people, is going to be way safer, way more doable with space. Anything you do in your house, closed spaces, small, tight spaces, that's introducing other dogs, introducing new people, it's going to be more stressful. Small spaces. And it sounds like he or she reacts even in their crate. Yeah, that's a tricky one. So maybe you can establish outside of your home in a crate with the door open, with a person very far away. Like your dog sees the person is in his crate, and you're going to reward him for staying in his crate. Now have the person maybe walk around, play with a soccer ball, do something, I don't know. And any time that your dog is quiet, reward that. And at a certain point in this exercise, if you do get to the point where you're solving the problem of him barking in his crate in your home, corrections might be valuable. That said, they're not for an amateur to do, especially in this situation where the dog's proven that he could potentially be dangerous. I highly recommend working with a professional if there's any potential that he could associate the correction with his crate, not the barking. Associate the correction with the person coming in the house. Not great. This is definitely a situation for hiring someone. And making sure that your vet is on board with the plan. Okay. All right. It sounds like there's also an aspect of resource guarding here. So again, just like the other behaviors with this dog, make sure he is not guarding resources due to anything neurologically based or physical pain. Those are all things that could be causing the resource guarding. So if you've cleared that as not being a cause, this is how I would advise you deal with the resource guarding. Do not try to take anything from your dog with your hand. Do not especially let children or other people take anything from your dog with their hand. What you are going to teach your dog is drop it or leave it, and then place. You're going to have a mat or somewhere he goes in your home or wherever you are. So he's going to get away from the object that he was guarding or had potential to guard. Stay there while you go get the object, right? So you're going to teach this. I'll do leave it. Let's say it's food, and you're going to teach leave it, right? So this is how I taught Milo leave it. I had food in my hand, and she comes closer, and if there is a bite risk here, do it with a barrier, and the hand closes. And she's like investigating, like, how do I get the hand to open? How do I get the hand to open? And then at some point, she moves even an inch away from my hand, and that hand is going to open, and I'm going to say, leave it, and give a reward with the other hand. So the dog is never going to get the reward that is in that hand, right? And then you're going to close again. So again, they're going to go, oh, like, how do I get that thing in the hand? I want it. And if they move a little away, you're going to reward them for that. So you're going to open your hand, say, leave it. And at some point they will go, oh, like in the past, I was rewarded for distance from the food. So I can anticipate if I create distance between myself and that food, I'm going to get a reward from the other hand. Works way better than any sort of leave it, pop with the leash. Anytime that your dog is seeing something they want and the result is pain, could result in your dog climbing up the leash to attack you because they want the thing and they want you to get away from them so they can get the thing. A better solution is to teach them create distance from the thing and get the thing they want. All right. Drop it is trickier. So you're going to do this with a professional, not with a friend, with someone who has experience with dogs who have resource guarding behaviors. I can recommend people in your area. I could find someone, but I don't recommend trying this technique with just anyone. Yeah, that would be the way I would go, but again, I wouldn't do that without help. All right, and I feel for you in this situation. I feel as though I narrowly avoided having a dog, similar to what Elle has described, and my heart goes out to you. If in the end you cannot keep the dog in your home, he's just too dangerous, and what I've described is too much work for you to establish safe interactions between him and other people, no one is going to judge you. Make the best decision for you. Make the best decision to keep other people and the dog safe.
It sounds like a situation where something bad is going to happen. It's a matter of time. It's not a if, it's a when. Oh, you're talking to good. And girl. Okay. We have A problem. My puppies, my biggest hurdle was holding their potty in their crates. For pet dogs, my biggest issue was jumping on guests for attention/pets. Oh, and having a shepherd, she naturally would alert, so barking in an apartment could have been an issue, but all my neighbors had dogs. Oof. That's rough. Tried. Smaller crate, limiting water intake before crating. For the jumping, I sent off to boarding, followed by e-collar, but mostly what worked best for me is knowing my dog's working level. I tend to enjoy working line breeds. If you like, we can use my dogs as examples in your answer videos. If I was including other videos, I would definitely take you up on that, thank you. So, let's see. For my puppies, my biggest hurdle was holding their potty in their crates. I think this gets better with time in 90% of cases. Very rarely do puppies who are given regular potty breaks outside of their crates continue to potty in their crate. Accidents are inevitable. Crate training is a great way to establish a routine, and puppies thrive on routines. Like, oh, every morning I'm taking out of the crate, go outside, potty, come back in, have my breakfast, go back in the crate, wait an hour, I'm taken back out, I potty again. And then we have playtime, or then I have some free time in the house. And by free time in the house, I mean 5 or 10 minutes, not an hour. Yeah, sounds like A did a good job dealing with what is a totally normal thing for puppies. Pet dogs, biggest issue was jumping on guests for attention or pets. So yeah, I addressed an earlier answer. Good ways to teach your dogs, healthy, safe ways to interact with guests. But I'll add at this point, I find that the more you utilize these behaviors or techniques, eventually you probably won't need them anymore. You probably won't need strangers or guests to hold out their hand for a touch. Your dog may just look for their hands anyways, and you don't have to explain, oh, my dog's touching your hand because in the past I rewarded them for that. Maybe the reward then is some scratches, and then they're done. The more you can teach a wanted behavior, the less you'll have to worry about the unwanted ones. There are situations where correcting the unwanted behavior, jumping, could be useful, but again, proceed with caution in using any form of corrections when greeting people. The worst case scenario is your dog associates the discomfort or the stimulus with the new person, and their solution may be to create distance between themselves and the person. That could be very dangerous. So that is that. Let's see. All right. A. My biggest struggle with the beagles. Ooh, I can't say I'm a fan. Beagles is potty habits. They're always going potty in their crates. Tried more potty breaks when able. Right before bed, as soon as I wake up, right before I leave for work, / right when I get home. All right. So this may never be solved. This person might always struggle with this. On that note, one solution might be outdoor kennels if you're going to be gone for a long time. An outdoor run that maybe has a roof if your beagles are climbers might be a good solution. Maybe they're only crated overnight, and during the day they're outside in runs. If that's not doable for you, for lots of people it's not, for most people it's not, that's understandable. Smaller crates are great because then if the dog does decide they're not willing to wait until you get back, then they have to sit with the discomfort of their accident, right? For some dogs, that's not very aversive. I've known dogs that are happy to consume their excrement if there isn't another option. So there are fallouts that could be involved in this. I do know of other strategies to solve potty problems, but I'm hesitant to publicly say what they are because I believe in 95% of situations, the solutions A is already going with are better than any tricks or old tricks of the trade, if you will. Yeah. So again, I like your strategy of more potty breaks when able, right before bed / as soon as you wake up, or right before you leave for work, or right when you get home. Lastly, maybe a suggestion here is if your dogs are people friendly, you can look on the Rover app and find a dog walker, someone who comes to get your dog while you're away at work, takes him on a walk, puts him back. Love that. Yeah, good solution.
So we are Clean Loop Canine. I learned these kind of terms so you don't have to. I love it.